Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Creative Hustle podcast. We appreciate you hanging out with us for a little bit every week while we bring you content that we feel is relevant to small business owners on the East Coast, and are excited to dive into another topic today. We have a guest with us today.
Hi.
Jaqueline Whitton from Jacqueline Anne Photography. We're so grateful to have you here.
I'm so excited.
We can't wait to hear your story, and let's get into it.
So how was your guys' week going? I know we're hitting Thursday, going into Friday.
I know, I'm seeing you guys for the first time.
I know.
It's
Well,
Thursday.
it's because Kristen and I got sick and we had to take yesterday off, but I feel better. Kristen's still not feeling 100%.
I'm still a little congested.
Stay away.
I might take tomorrow off if we get this podcast edited up for you guys. But yeah, it's been a week. How are you guys?
Yeah, it was good. It's been really busy.
Yeah.
It is just, obviously getting ready for the 2019 wedding season. I'm also hosting my workshop. So
Tell us a little bit about your workshop.
yeah, so I have launched a one-day workshop retreat, which sold out within like 72 hours.
Oh my goodness.
I
It's
amazing.
was like, oh my gosh, I
That is
can't
a big
believe it.
deal in and of itself.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I really wanted to create this experience for predominantly photographers on the East Coast. I mean, I've seen workshops done really well in some of the bigger epicenters in and around Canada. I've been to some of them. I'm really fortunate to have attended. And I thought, what can I bring here to our doorstep that's of the same quality, that inspires people in the same way, that creates a kind of network of individuals. And so the one-day workshop is happening in May, our first inaugural workshop.
Yay!
So exciting.
Yeah,
so that one sold out. Are you going to have future ones for people listening? Okay,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So stay tuned. I would love to be able to offer this on a sort of twice-a-year basis.
Love it.
So
good. That's awesome. Maybe we'll go next time.
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
That's gonna be great. So I've just been kind of working towards getting the vendors secured for that, making sure that our talking points are slick and offer some really valuable business acumen points as well. That's been my week so far.
Awesome. How was your week, Kate?
Good. Crazy. It's Thursday. It's always Thursday, it seems like. Really good. I started off the week on away. We were on a little tour of Cape Breton, essentially. We had to go up there for some book signings, some creative hustle, some East Coast wedding planner, media. We were on CBC this morning, actually, CBC Main Street. So I've got to go find that.
Yeah.
Our interview that we did. It was a radio interview, and it was my first radio interview, and it was so cool. I really, really enjoyed it. It was like, I don't know, there's something interesting about radio, and maybe it's this podcast and being in sort of that world.
You're just like a pro now.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. So we did that, and then we also had one of our clients in who's getting married in Cape Breton later this summer. And interesting experience. Before we went up, when we booked this trip a few weeks back, we had set a bunch of appointments, and not realizing, I don't know if this played into it, but not realizing that we were going to be there, and we were setting meetings for, number one, the Monday of March break. So the first day of March break. And number two, the Monday immediately following the Sunday St. Patrick's Day. So it's like, okay, probably wasn't the best timing to schedule these early Monday morning meetings. But I mean, whatever, like we're all business, and you do what you got to do. And especially if you have a client coming to town, you make the time.
For sure.
Anyway, so we had these three meetings booked. First meeting, forgot about us, no show, didn't remember, didn't realize that we were coming. Second meeting was great. We did a site visit of the property. We sat down with the chef. We had a wonderful meeting. Next meeting after that was following, again, forgotten about. So it was really, really disappointing, and it was really discouraging, because here we were, we had spent our time on a Sunday and a Monday. We took time away from the office and away from our families and celebrating St. Patrick's Day here in the city to go up to Cape Breton and get in these what we felt were valuable meetings. And number two, our client, she was here for the weekend to spend time with her family, but because we didn't necessarily want to ask our vendors to go out of their way, we asked if she could extend her trip and stay for Monday so
And
that
she
we could
flew
get
in
these meetings
from
in. And
out
she
of
flew in
province.
from out of province. Yeah. So here she was. She took a day off work. She extended her trip. She had to change her flight. So, you know, all of us really went out of our way to get here so that she could, you know, experience and meet people who were going to be participating on her wedding with her, not naming any names. And we were forgotten about 2 out of 3 times. So it was really unsettling.
And that just sucks because, like, if you were forgotten about in Halifax, whatever, you know, if your clients are here, it's
we'll
fine.
reschedule for tomorrow.
Yeah,
or
but
we'll get there tonight.
Yeah, the
or
fact that you
something.
were, like, in Cape Breton, that's shitty.
Yeah, we all went so far out of our way. And, you know, it made me, I felt like, look bad because it was like, well, why didn't you do your follow-ups even though we did do our follow-ups?
Right.
Yeah, you
know.
start to question yourself.
You
You're like,
do.
wait,
Yeah.
did I do everything
Yes,
correctly?
I'm like pulling up my emails.
yeah.
I'm making phone calls, sending text messages, like trying to make sure that it wasn't me or someone on
Yeah.
my team that dropped the ball. And then it just leaves her with sort of this like unsettling feeling of like, okay, well, you know, if you couldn't even remember,
Is this going to happen on
that
my
I was
wedding
coming
day?
in,
Yeah.
what is the experience going to be like on my wedding day? So I just thought that was something worthwhile talking about.
So how did you do damage control for it?
So honestly, we're still doing damage
Yeah.
control. So the first meeting that we were supposed to have, we're trying to figure out what direction we want to go. She's feeling a little uneasy, you know, trying to decide whether or not she still wants to work with this vendor. And then the second one, same sort of thing. Both of them, we kind of got on the phone and they're very apologetic, but it was very much, you know, like I was sitting in the car in front of her and it was blatantly like
Obvious.
forgotten about.
Yeah, totally.
So I think maybe, you know, we should talk about how that doesn't happen, how that shouldn't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, you know, I live and die by my calendar.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
For us too, I think like the journalism side of our training is like deadline, schedule. Here's your interview, do it, like show up. No matter what, you always have to show up. Even in class, like if we missed a class, like we were screwed. So I think it's embedded in us. But I think as entrepreneurs, you know, that's your reputation going out to clients. And even if it's someone else, it still reflects poorly on you.
Absolutely.
agree.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you're going out of your way to recommend
Yeah.
these people, then they've got to meet you halfway. They've got
agree.
to attend in the same way. They're getting something mutually beneficial out of this agreement.
Yeah.
So you've got to do your work.
And
Like,
it wasn't
just-
even like a situation where it was like, oh, we were just like 5 minutes away and we could like pop over there. It was like
course.
they were out of town.
Oh,
It was impossible to make this happen.
That is literally my biggest nightmare.
Yeah.
I actually have bad dreams about like
Missing
showing up
meetings.
late to things.
Yeah.
Like,
I hate being late.
actually, so I was meeting my dad here at the office this morning at 8:30. Last night I had a nightmare for my own dad that I like couldn't get out of the house. I woke up, it was 8:23 and I had to be here for 8:30 and it's like just meeting my dad. Like it doesn't
So
really
much
matter.
anxiety.
Yeah, literally that's like my worst nightmare is being late or
In
like
my
forgetting
entire
something.
professional career, I was 15 minutes late for one meeting years ago, and I still don't forgive myself.
You get-
for it.
yeah, you
'Cause it
guilt
was 15
yourself.
minutes late, and
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
can't get
oh
rid of
my
it.
gosh, you know. So I just think that like, you know, as professionals, we want our clients to take us seriously.
Yeah.
We want our clients to respect us and have boundaries with us and pay us the premium prices that we quote them. But if we're not taking them seriously and, you know, helping them to understand that we value them and their time, then why should it go both ways?
a vendor could potentially lose a client over it.
For sure.
Yes.
That's a loss of income.
Just like that.
One wedding day for us is a huge part of our
Absolutely.
income.
It's a huge thing.
Huge. So, I mean, I wouldn't even chance it. People out there, don't be late.
Yeah.
Or don't cancel.
Yeah,
Or don't
Don't
forget.
be tardy
It's
to
just
the party.
it's
Yeah,
just a
just
little
don't.
tacky. Like
It's
just
totally,
don't do
totally.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyways, that was my story. But Jackie, let's get into talking about you. Can you tell us a little bit about your story? Because it's a really interesting one.
Oh, wow. Yes. It's a little bit of a long-winded one as well. So, yeah, I run Jacqueline Anne Photography. I'm a fine art wedding photographer here now on the East Coast.
Yay!
I am originally from Scotland. I grew up in Edinburgh. And my husband and I moved here November of 2017. So we're already like
Amazing.
a year and a half in.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, I still remember the first day I came to see you guys, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
I still remember that because we were in the office. Yeah.
So yeah, and the kind of process of moving and relocating my business and the ups and the downs and the trials and the tribulations, I just wanted to, I guess, share my experience with that and hopefully help some people out there who are considering or going through the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's like super, super relevant and super interesting because, I think there's a lot of new business owners that are moving here, a lot of people from afar that are sort of seeking out Nova Scotia as this really beautiful, ideal place to have a life. Absolutely. But how do you bring your business here with you? And then also, there's a lot of people who have to move away, but have like really seriously rooted businesses here. And how do you just pick those up and take them elsewhere?
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about your experiences with that.
Yeah, so I guess I was sitting down the other night to literally try and go through this because I've got so many different topics from so many different aspects of this process. But I guess the first thing that we started doing, so we decided in the July before that November that we were going to move.
Wow.
So that was July,
quick.
August, September, October. We had 4 months basically.
Wow.
We threw ourselves into this.
And you already had a rooted business where you were.
I did,
okay.
yes. So I was running my business back in Scotland. I had clients that were still booking me that I committed to at that point because we had made this massive decision, kind of snap of the moment. I still had obligations to these clients, and I had to fulfill those obligations and be responsible for my process and my workflow and how that was going to affect them. So I guess the first thing we decided to do was, we did our research, we did our homework. And this is probably like the topic of this conversation is like research your shit.
Right.
Definitely.
So true.
So we, I was really fortunate at that point in time that, we lived fairly close to my parents. So we relied on them quite a lot. We actually moved in with them for 6 weeks.
Okay.
It was interesting. In Scotland,
yeah.
yes, before. So we sold our house. We put it on the market literally the day we decided to move. I found a house here on Kijiji. I phoned the guy. I said, we are moving to Nova Scotia. We've just put our house on the market. And we signed the lease before we even sold our house in Scotland.
Amazing.
So that all happened really fast. And I guess in terms of business, I had to get my thinking hat on. I was like, I've never done this before. I don't know what the legislation is. I don't know what the process is, like when I land, what I have to do. My mom's Canadian, so of course I had citizenship, which was fine. My husband did not. And just to segue to that point, actually, I had a telephone conversation with somebody who reached out to me on social media. It was a guy who is a creative. He's living back in Scotland, found me and was asking me a bunch of questions. And again, guys, if you don't just assume that you're an honorary Canadian when you move here, or if you move, or if you marry into that, citizenship, you're not Canadian. Legally, you're not Canadian. So if you marry a Canadian, it doesn't make you Canadian.
Doesn't make you Canadian. Interesting.
So you still have to have your work permit.
Okay,
for sure.
To work here and to bring income here, regardless of the fact if your spouse is Canadian or not.
Wild.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so this guy on the end of the phone was like, wait, what? He had no idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously our first protocol was to speak to lawyers here in Halifax as well. Because we were like, right, we're going to want to make sure that John can, one, get into the country and can stay in the country.
Yes.
Because let's be honest, if he wasn't able to do that, I probably wasn't going to come.
Yeah.
We're kind of a set.
Of course.
Package deal.
Exactly. So yeah, and then from there, I reached out to people. I actually reached out to Colleen at Styled and Lace.
Yeah.
I reached out to some mentors here. I reached out to you guys here. And this was all done kind of behind the scenes while we were packing up boxes and, trying to navigate the whole let's sell our house phase of our life as well. So yeah.
That's wild.
So what made you move here?
That is like the number one question.
Why? Why here?
Why here? So we wanted to have our cake and eat it. This sounds really bad. That's cute. Okay, so we, from my standpoint, because I still had clients back in the UK and I'm half Canadian, I wanted to be geographically closer to my parents who are still in the UK. my grandparents who are still around. And I wanted that freedom to kind of come and go and still have my foot in a market over there.
Okay.
And we looked at larger centers. We looked at, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver. The travel time just got a little bit extended. It became a little more challenging. I can be home on like a 4.5, 5 hour flight sometimes, which is incredible for me. So if something were to happen or if I needed to get back,
You can get there.
I can get there.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
Tell us a little bit about the challenges of, uprooting your business from where you're originally from and starting here, and how did that work?
yeah. So, wow, there were so many challenges.
I can't even imagine.
No,
Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, my brain is a
So
fog
brave.
if I think about like expanding into Toronto or,
Yeah, and it's kind of like expanding.
Yeah.
So rather than, I guess, the way I tried to look at it was not that I was like losing my ability to still work in a place, but actually I was expanding that market and that demographic.
Yep.
So I took that standpoint. I was like, no, my family's just growing a little bit bigger and I'm going to be straddling two continents.
Makes sense.
So I think that kind of approach and that mindset really helped. It was kind of being a positive as opposed to thinking about it in a negative way,
Yep.
because it would be so easy to sit back here and say, oh, I'm so far away from the UK, I'm never going to get there, and cut off that part of my life when actually it's still such a massive part for me. So I think shifting my mindset and saying, no, actually, this is a really positive thing. My business can now operate in 2 places, which is incredible. And I see my market as, not just, I guess, Halifax and Nova Scotia, but actually places like Toronto and everything as well, because I'm only like a couple hour flight from there. And that's really exciting for me. I've never really been in that position. So
Have the opportunity to sort of bounce around.
Exactly. And so what I did, again, before I moved, was I started looking at like my website and my SEO. And I really kind of went to town on just making sure that I had all those keywords in place, like, Halifax wedding photographer and Nova Scotia wedding photographer. And before I even got here, my website was actually already ranking on Google, which was amazing.
Amazing.
So that actually really helped, and that brought me in 2 bookings for last year within the first month of getting here.
Wow. Just from optimizing your SEO.
From optimizing SEO.
Know your SEO, know your shit when it comes to that.
Yeah,
Which is something we need to work on.
Do you want to do ours?
I've learned little hints and tips and tricks along the way. It is like a labor of love. It's it's an organic process. You've got to be patient with it. You've got to do it properly.
You have to put content out. Yep.
Keeping the content fresh.
Yep.
Using those keywords as often in a sensible way as well. Like, don't just flood.
In a tacky way. Yeah.
Yeah, don't just flood your website with the same keywords over and over and over again, because it's going to work against you. So I had the address of the property, and obviously, like, use Google Business, guys.
Business. We should do an entire conversation about Google Business.
Yeah.
It is so
it's incredible.
valuable.
You're right.
It really is. And as soon as I was able to put in my coordinates and my new address, I got on Google Maps.
Yes.
So anybody in that area who was looking for a wedding photographer or a photographer at all, I would pop
coming
up.
up.
Yeah, which was amazing.
that's
It's
so
such
smart.
an unutilized tool.
Yeah.
I didn't even really think about that.
We're on it, but like I feel like we could utilize it. Like you can do AdWords and stuff like that.
Exactly, exactly.
And they keep sending us mail. We should actually
God,
use
no,
it.
You should authenticate your
I
Google
know.
listing.
No,
That's
do you
what
know
they're
what I
sending
just did this morning?
Yeah.
I threw it
Yeah.
in the garbage.
No, get it back out of the garbage. You have to
take it.
authenticate your Google listing.
So you guys will see on the vlog that we are going to force Jane to get that in the
Yes,
garbage.
she's going.
We're going to make her dig in that
going
garbage.
dumpster
Well, you know what?
diving.
I just sent it. I just put it in this morning, so it'll be right on top
it'll
of
be
all my
right at the
garbage, ready to go.
Yeah. That's what you think. Get the rubber gloves on.
It's funny. Google, you can sort of use it like social media. You can make posts that will stay active. You'll put your images up there. We get Google reports every 2 weeks that says like this
Your
many
analytics.
people looked at this photo, this many people clicked to call you, this many people asked for directions.
Yeah.
It's really quite interesting.
Yeah, and actually that was one of the biggest things that I think really helped with my Google ranking.
Drive traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, those two bookings probably wouldn't have found me. And I was really lucky because the clients, they found me on Google. I know that they found me on Google. I ask, all of my clients where they find my information.
Smart. That is really smart to do.
Yeah, it massively helped because they lived in the area.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. The next thing I really focused on was like marketing in general. So that it's like all collateral material. That's like your business cards and note cards, and I've even done like Google Ads, Instagram, but like boosting posts, Facebook posts, Pinterest. Oh my gosh.
Right. Yes.
So if you don't know what rich pins are, learn your rich pins, people, because they are going to save you. Oh my gosh. It's marketing 101. I think that's
we're
like
not big on the Pinterest.
Right we'll get Rebecca in here to talk about Pinterest because she is all over it.
It's so valuable as well.
It really is. Yep.
Yeah, and obviously when we were still going through this this period of moving, I was making sure that I was just doing this religiously. Like I carved out a couple of hours every day. I used to do it first thing with my coffee in the morning. And I would just sit down. I've got from 8 until 10. After 10 a.m., I am like packing boxes. I'm dealing with movers. I'm dealing with customs agents. I'm dealing with the lawyers. I'm dealing. Yeah. And obviously everything was like intense in terms of things had to be done really quickly.
Yeah.
We didn't have time on our side. We'd made the decision to go, and I'm impulsive in that way. So when I make a decision, I like to do it like there and then.
Yeah.
I'm kind of impatient.
It sounds like someone we know, right?
I don't like to sit on things for months.
Let's just do it.
Let's do it.
Get it done.
Get it done. I'm a doer. So marketing was a massive part of that. And again, I learned through, I guess, just trial and error more than anything. When I was boosting posts in terms of Facebook and Instagram, I updated those demographics. I looked at my target audiences. I really honed in on who I wanted to attract and who I was needing to attract to get business here.
This is marketing 101. I mean, obviously this has worked for Jackie.
Yes.
And, you've had success doing all of this, coming here and moving your business into a new market. What if a business that was already rooted in this market also made the efforts that you made?
Yeah.
How much more would, we all be able to continue to grow? And
that's
you will continue to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you put in the effort and now you have this understanding of all these items.
Exactly. And again, I'm a big, you learn by doing. So you have to do it yourself to understand these things.
I agree.
I guess marketing was really key. When I first got here, again, there was so many ups and downs. We were figuring out things new culture, new ways of doing things. I mean, everything from your garbage disposal to actually buying things is so different here.
Weird. The little things we take for granted.
Really, you walk into your new supermarket for the first time and you're like, I don't know where anything is.
Oh,
so your first trip to the supermarket is not just a quick 20-minute trip. You're there for 3 hours trying to find where the tin of beans are. And it's these little things. So, I needed to find some sort of way to take myself out of that chaos.
Right.
And I invested in a mentor. And that was so important. It was one of the best things I probably could have done for my business. I think having a mentor at any stage of your business is amazing, so you can learn and grow. However, at that stage when I just moved, I needed someone to really cheer me on. I needed that positive influence in my life who would hold my feet to the fire and who had been there and done it and had
success
industry experience here.
True.
I wanted to learn from experts in the industry.
Brilliant.
And we had, our calls and our meetings, and we had action points, and some of my biggest soul searching was done within those meetings.
Interesting. Yep.
Because they'd been there.
Yeah.
Yep. They'd been in the industry for so long. They knew this. They knew what was going on here.
Yep.
And they were abreast of the situation. They could really offer valuable information for me.
Yeah.
And keep me positive through it all, because it's not easy. It's really you'll have these days where you think you are floundering.
Yeah.
You know, and you try and hold it all together. I'm getting totally emotional. You try and hold it all together, but it's really tough.
I mean, I have those days, you know, and I grew up here, so I can only imagine how emotional the highs and lows of being a business owner, but then relocating to a completely other part of the world.
Exactly.
Must be.
Yeah. And, you know, geographically, you're so much further away from everything you
Everything
knew.
you know.
Totally. It'd be scary.
It's really scary. It's honestly the first, like, I guess 4 or 5 months, I was kind of just like riding the wave. I had no idea what the next day would bring. But having a mentor was so valuable because it actually steered me. And I was like, you know, I've got someone else that I have responsibility to. I've invested in this.
Yep.
I need to make 100% use of that person's knowledge. I soak it all up and I need to take this really seriously. And it was like the best thing for my business.
Amazing.
So
I think having a mentor is the best thing for any business, but especially in this situation.
Oh, for sure.
Finding somebody
And Jackie,
local.
you were doing such a good job of like coming here and reaching out to other vendors. And I think
you're networking.
A lot of people have, you know, too much pride to say, especially creatives, you know, they're so glued to their work and they think it's amazing, and I'm sure it is. But you did a good job of, you know, hey, let's go to the top wedding planner in the city. Like a lot of people would be, you know, kind of scared of doing that. Or you reached out to us and said, hey, let's do a service trade. And you treated everybody so good at your styled shoots. Like you were very welcoming. And a lot of people are too intimidated
I
to
think
even
not
do the
enough
step.
people are doing it locally.
No,
I think
people have to collaborate and network.
Exactly. Everything that Jackie's saying is all things that, you know, you are almost like you're forced to do because you're here in a new market. And thank goodness you have this like amazing spirit that you do, and you were able to, you know, walk through those doors and sit down with the 6 of us and confidently tell us about you. But, you know, there's a lot of people who, just like us, have grown up here our entire lives who aren't putting in, you know, the efforts that you are. So
Like, oh, we don't need to do that.
Well,
I grew up
right?
here.
Exactly. And I think obviously being an outsider, and I still do feel in a way that I'm an outsider, that's not like a reflection of how people are here and how the Nova Scotians are, but I'll always be like, I didn't grow up here. And so I have a different experience. And you know, I have to work really hard. You know, I've got to put myself out there. Otherwise, how are people going to find me?
It's true.
You know, how am I going to make these incredible relationships that we have and get to know people at their grassroots? Like, what makes them tick? What do they like? Like,
understanding Maritimers. I mean, I'm sure you're finding, yes, we can, you know, sit behind our computers from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. every day and pump on the SEO and the social media. But here, and I'm sure back in Scotland as well, in the UK, you know, here is really about community and who you know and making connections and having that personal one-on-one relationship.
Absolutely. I like to call this like the meet and greet province. Right. Like, you've got to go and meet and greet everybody.
From my friend who has a cousin whose dog sitter used to work with this person, and you've got to work with that person.
It is so true. It is. It's like you got to go see people in like face to face so they can get to know you. I mean, everybody, and this is so funny because again, it's not really of the same mentality back in the UK in a way, but we do like everything online. Interesting. You know, like there's no like. When I first got here, I went into the bank to open a bank account. I went into the insurance brokers to get an insurance quote. You know, I went in and saw these individuals. Like, I can't just phone up TELUS and be like, hey, I need a mobile contract. They're like, no, you gotta come and see us.
Come to the store.
Totally.
Somebody else said something funny that I didn't realize about us before too the other day to me. They said, every meeting has to start with small talk.
Yes.
So every meeting has to start with small talk about the weather, about your mom, everything has to start with small talk here versus in other parts of the world. You sit down in a boardroom,
you get right into
it.
Yeah.
So interesting. We're learning about ourselves.
I know. Right. There we go. So I guess like networking, so key.
Yeah,
it really is.
Just getting out
there. And there are so many really good. I mean, if you're not up for the whole elevator pitch, let's go speak to people
in a business
sense, like, and you want a more casual environment, there are so many opportunities here to be able to do that. So you've got things like the Rising Tide Society, which is great. You have got the Women in Business networking events. There are so many things happening here where you do have to put yourself out there.
You do.
For
Exactly.
You got to swallow your pride a little bit and go and just say, you know what, I'm here,
Yeah.
I'm showing up. This is really nerve-wracking, but
You know what
I'm
I've
gonna
also
do it.
realized lately? Sitting in hotel lobbies.
Yeah.
You know, if you just took your computer and opened it up and worked in a hotel lobby for 4 hours
Mm-hmm.
and looked a little like personable, you'll meet people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you'll
We
make
should
try
love to
it.
chat.
We should do a podcast
do a behind
recording
the scene.
from the Westin
I was gonna
lobby
say.
Sure.
and see who we meet just while we're sitting around.
That'd be
dinner.
really fun.
Yeah, and
It
if
is
you
so
go
true.
to those like events and stuff, and you're a little nervous, guaranteed there's other people just like
Everyone's
you, who are
nervous,
a little nervous,
for
and then
sure.
you can
Yes.
just like meet people. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You're not the
Exactly.
only one out there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Jackie, do you have any like bullet point advice?
High level.
Yeah, if
Yes.
to say like if Caitlin wanted to move her business to Toronto, or
Yes.
we wanted to expand into the Calgarys and Torontos and BCs of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess bullet pointed, SEO,
Okay.
Yeah.
Google, work on your marketing for that area, network, of course,
Yep.
reach out to
in
people.
the area. Yep.
Social media is also huge. Like announce where you're going to be
Okay.
in advance as
Yeah.
well, and make a big deal of it. You know, do a countdown, take people on your journey with you, show your perspective or
Ooh,
through
that's
their eyes. You know,
interesting.
take them with you, because people are so interested in where you're going. People are intrinsically nosy. They love to know what's happening in your life.
So like a countdown till we launch in Toronto. Or,
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
keep it cloak and dagger and say, we've got something special coming in
going
like
somewhere.
2, 5
Yeah.
days,
Yes.
whatever it is, 3 weeks, whatever.
Brilliant.
You know, count that down so people
Clickbait.
can buy in. Clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring people along on that journey with you. Find a mentor, obviously, was like super high on my list. Finances, like again, it's probably a loaded topic, but when we first got here, we had a fund which we affectionately labeled our "When the Shit Hits the Fan" fund.
I love it.
Yeah, so we like costed out all of our expenses for a whole year.
Wow. Yeah.
Like we did not scrimp,
your budget.
and we did
Yeah.
our budget.
Yeah.
We had to be prepared for the fact that what if the shit hit the fan
Yeah.
and we had to pull money from somewhere to pay for something,
Really smart.
and we had to
Brilliant.
buy things, because another thing, finance, you have no credit when you move abroad.
Wow.
You lose all of your
Really?
credit. If you've owned a house, if you've leased a car in another
So
country,
you're starting from scratch.
you start completely from scratch. You have to buy everything outright until you can get your credit up. And the only way to get your credit up is by doing little things like
Phone
these
bills
prepaid credit cards, phone bills. Even TELUS won't give you a phone contract until you can put it on a credit card. So all of these things, you have to slowly build that credit.
That
it
is
takes
wild.
like
Brilliant.
up to a year. So
Incredible.
have a fund. I mean, we had to put down payments, like buy our cars outright. You know,
Crazy.
this is the kind of money we're talking about.
Yeah,
So
like
you've got to
significant
save.
dollars.
Yeah.
Save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So research
To
your
do it
move.
successfully.
Yeah, absolutely. And be really brutally honest with yourself. Like we kind of found out how much groceries cost on average, how much petrol cost. We have like 3 modes of heating in the house. We need to know how much each of that costs.
Yeah.
Phone bills. Also, probably like Wi-Fi and your phone. You will spend so much time on Google Maps when you first move to a new place.
Because you have no idea where you're going.
You have no idea. You get completely
So your
lost.
data package.
You're gonna need some good data on
Yeah. Or tip number 754.
Yep.
Download that new city's map
Entire map.
offline.
Yep.
So get that whole map offline on Google Maps.
Right. Yep.
So you don't have to use your data.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Seriously, like that was a lifesaver.
Oh my goodness, Jackie! Like,
Yeah.
we could literally
I
talk
could
to you
talk
about this
for
for an
a
hour.
mile.
This
Yeah.
is incredible. So tell us what's coming up. Tell us, like, you're here. You've been rooting
Yes.
here for a year and 3 months now.
Yes,
a year
yep.
and a few months now.
Yep.
You're seeing steam. You're seeing traction.
Yep.
What's the next little while in your life look like?
Yeah, so it's really exciting. I have got a couple trips coming up. I'm heading to Vancouver, which is lovely. So going a bit bi-coastal for a week, which is
Yes,
nice.
good.
And then I'm in Toronto after that. The workshop happens after that. I have got various branding shoots coming up. So it's really just like keeping those wheels turning.
Wheels are turning. Yeah. And probably a busy summer ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess it'll be time to think about the next workshop.
It's true. Yeah, do a fall workshop.
And Jackie's also going to provide us with a PDF.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, just when thinking of this particular topic, I really wanted to make sure that it was as comprehensive as it could possibly be. There are some harsh points in there, guys.
Harsh is good.
Harsh is what we're going for.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, you gotta strap in for some of these because at the end of the day, my biggest thing is like it's business as usual. Despite everything else that's going on, you are moving, you are doing as much as you can. You have to act professionally.
Exactly.
And so this PDF kind of runs through everything that I did, gives some hints and tips, some recommendations. I'd like to say it's not really focused as much on things like registering your business and finding an accountant or anything like that.
Those you quick Google search.
Yes, exactly. So I'll send that through.
So we will give that to our producer, Nicole, to link with the episode.
And we'll put it on our Instagram.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you. We'll have you back again.
I'm so excited.
We'll talk about the workshop. We'll talk about your second season in the Maritimes.
I know. We'll have to do this.
We'll have lots more things to chat
It'll
about.
be super helpful for people who are looking to move their business.
Yeah. Awesome.
So if you enjoyed listening to this episode or any of our episodes, we would love for you to subscribe to our podcast, The Creative Hustle, on iTunes. If you're already subscribing, unsubscribe, subscribe again. It totally helps with our ratings. Leave us a review. Reviews really help with our ratings. Follow us on Instagram. And we just picked our winner this week for our big giveaway, the 1-hour mentoring session with myself and the 1-minute social media video by Arrow and Knot Productions. So congrats to
Jen.
Congrats
Twig and
to
feather.
Jen. We cannot wait to see you, Jen, and create this video for you. As always, keep hustling, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.